If you enjoyed the first season of the German Netflix series Kleo, you're in luck because a second season is arriving. Does the Cold War spy series smuggle the goods? The hunt for the red suitcase continues as former GDR spy Kleo is determined to retrieve it and destroy it for good, while West Berlin police officer Sven is trying to do everything he can to redeem himself in Kleo's eyes and work with her again. So once again, Kleo is chasing after the red suitcase that contains potentially dangerous information, or items that could change the outcome of the world's relationship with the newly freed Eastern Germany. Now, the first season, it featured Kleo's odd but sweet roommate Thilo, who was at the end of the show. He was apparently picked up by a UFO. That was strange, to say the least, especially since so much of the show had been grounded in reality. Now sure, some of the storylines are a bit fantastical, but not out there or far-fetched, except for Thilo's excursion. And this season remains grounded in reality. The season also picks up pretty much where the first left off. Now we have a larger group of people working to discover the whereabouts of the suitcase and then retrieve it. And this allows for the introduction of a couple of new characters, but we also get to see some of the standouts from season 1. Now Sven, like I mentioned in the synopsis, he's back and doing his best to impress Kleo, but he continues to fail miserably. And I love their banter and dynamics. I mean, one has an earnest desire to become friends, or even more. The other has an earnest desire to ignore these feelings completely and then do whatever is necessary to accomplish the mission. And this creates enjoyable chaos, even a small spark of romantic drama, without diving so heavily into it that the pursuit of love distracts from the pursuit of the suitcase. Now, I do think that Sven's repeated wistful attempts of wooing Kleo, they do get a little tiresome and repetitive, especially because it begins to paint him as just a true dolt. But we also get to see his optimism, which I think helps to then reduce annoyance from the duplicated efforts. We also get Uwe back in this season, and he is even more deranged and driven than in season 1. He was beginning to remind me a bit of Inspector Dreyfus from the Pink Panther films. He's hellbent on ending Kleo, even if it puts him in danger too. And there are some wonderfully dark scenes where Uwe is at the center, and then these sequences, they are twisted and gnarly, just showing how unhinged the character is, with an increasing trajectory towards pure evil. Now, the story bounces around a bit, so we don't consistently get to see Uwe, but we do know he's always lurking someplace, and that anticipation I found engaging. Now, I like the costume and the set designs were shown. This is right after the Berlin Wall has come down, and so everything is still a bit new and undefined. But what looks amazing is how the characters begin to fully embrace elements of the West, looking like they've stumbled right out of the wardrobe department for Miami Vice. But then in stark contrast, others who are loyal to the old ways, they're still dressed in very drab colors that have a stifling look to them. Now, this season manages to drop a few bombshells, especially as Kleo dives further and further into her memories. And this unveils all sorts of secrets. But what's awesome is that, just like Kleo, we can't be sure if what glimpses and fragments she sees in her mind of her childhood, if they're actually true, or if they're more of the programming that she received while the government was training her to be a GDR agent. Now, the season is shorter than the first, with only 6 40-ish minute episodes. I mean, the narrative is still managing to pack in a lot of content within them, but it is a faster binge if that's what you're looking to do. Yella Haas's, I think that's how you pronounce her name, well, her portrayal of the title character I thought was wonderful and enveloping. She's aloof and cagey, but also extremely deadly, with moments of sweetness mixed in. She's enigmatic in her personality, and creating Kleo to just be cunning but vulnerable too. And there are some moments we'll watch her gut someone, and then in the very next breath, give a comforting look to somebody else. And because the season increases the stakes when it comes to story danger, there are some moments when we don't know if Kleo is going to make it out unscathed. There's also a more personal story in the works for Kleo, giving her an opportunity to expand beyond just the deadly spy. I mean, we're shown a glimpse of humanity and how that creates internal conflict due to her training, her tasks, and her current mission. Hase expertly creates a persona that shows the turmoil that she deals with in all aspects of her life, some created by herself, and then some thrust on her. For the action sequences in this, there is a brutality that I wasn't expecting. Some are played for dark comedy, but other portions, they're just plain violent. In action, it's exciting, but there tends to be some decent character production in key moments just to ensure that somebody makes it out so they can be in the next scene or the episode. Don't get me wrong though, I mean, characters, they do meet their ends, some in spectacular ways. I especially love it when we see improvised weapons, typically harnessing the chaotic confusion of a scene to just bring about violent carnage. Now, as a native English speaker, this isn't a casual watch because I don't speak German. Even if I did, though, I find the characters to be enthralling and the mysterious chase aspect engaging and fun. There is a great mix of disturbed comedy and savage violence, all placed in a time where the cloak and dagger element can thrive and then not feel forced. With quirky characters and intriguing twists, the second season continues to deliver the Cold War goodies. There is sex, some nudity, a bunch of profanity, and then a good amount of violence. I give Season 2 of Kleo 4 out of 5 couches. So what spice-themed shows have you seen or do you think that are worth checking out? I would love to know about these. I'm loving the Slow Horses show on Apple. Let me know yours, though, in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.